Welcome in, my dears. What big eyes and ears you have. All the better to enjoy our reviews with.
You're back with R&R, where two dudes make it seem like they're just doing this because they have nothing better to do. But truth be told, are very busy people working the grind day in and day out in a constant struggle to swallow everything on their plate. But you know what I think about at least half the crew here at R&R? They're pretty great. Today we are coming at you with another review from two self-proclaimed reviewees, or whatever. If you haven't already checked us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or the Twitters, be sure to do that. Let us know you're listening. It would really warm old Bob's heart and perhaps stop him from writing such tasteless jokes. Yeah, I know, Bob.
R&R Reviews is sponsored by Wilhelm Awareness. Hundreds of movies are using the Wilhelm scream every year without giving the credit deserved. The big corporate studios think we'll never notice, but we will. Movies like Indiana Jones.
Going too fast.
It's a matter of opinion.
Up. Star Wars. Indiana Jones. And also Indiana Jones. Have you been bamboozled by the Wilhelm scream? Prevent others from experiencing the same trauma. Help us raise awareness.
It's a very serious issue that we should all be aware about.
Welcome to the Cinema Club. R&R Reviews.
Alright, now that we have lost all our listeners, we can get into this week's review on Birds That Hunt You and the Fabulous Freedom of One Harlequin. Scary Birds and the Fantabulous Education of One Harley Quinn. Scary Birds and the Fantabulous Education of One Harlequin. Birds of Caw-ca and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Motorcycle. Yeah, I got it locked in the vault, Bob. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. As always, our review will be spoiler-free. So as most of us know, DC has had a very hard time lately establishing their extended universe, putting out some of the worst superhero films to date in our opinion. Suicide Squad, Justice League, and so on. So with any new DCEU release, there is always a bit of apprehension about the film.
Right.
Nevertheless, as two self-proclaimed reviewees, we maintained an open mind, hoping that just once a DC film will take it to the next level, or at least a level worthy of talking about. So where does Birds of Prey stand? Well, here at R&R, we gave Birds of Prey a 6 out of 10 points, which is truly a surprising score for a DCEU film. The film mostly follows our narrator, Harley Quinn, despite the title of the film, who is played by the lovely Margot Robbie, who is nearly the perfect Harley Quinn besides the terrible Harley Quinn voice she has. It's like scraping a cheese grater against my ears. I'm pretty sure every time she says puddin', a puppy dies. And as she details the incidents of her life following her breakup with none other than Mr. J himself, that's right, the Joker.
Yes, master.
Harley gets herself in trouble for, well, just being Harley. And gets mixed into a plot that requires her to kidnap a kid in order to save her own skin. Our other main stars fall into this similar plot, but in their own individual arcs. Sharing in more depth about the story would violate our spoiler-free commitment, but this story does have a way of grabbing you and holding you in. At points near the middle it gets a little dry, and yeah, it lacks a true directive, but overall this is an entertaining look at these characters. This is not a world-ending catastrophe. Instead, it's a smaller spectrum, focusing more on the characters than just large action scenes. The construction and implementation of the story are what makes it fun. It feels out of the ordinary and more random and chaotic. This could be considered DC's equivalent attempt at what Deadpool is for Marvel.
Well said, well spoken.
The events in this film aren't going to stop the end of the world, they just affect the characters inside of it. We get a look at several new heroes here. Black Canary, who's played by Janice Smollett Bell.
Wow,
Huntress, who is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
Wow.
and Renee Montoya, who is played by Rosie Perez.
Wow.
Each of these heroes has an individual arc we get to see play out. These films usually feel like they're forcing their two-dimensional characters to team up. Justice League. But this didn't quite feel that rushed. Their team-up seems very genuine, their emotions feel real, and their motivations all look valid. Most of all, these characters actually have personalities, thank goodness. They offer humor, dialogue, and actual emotions, and it works. If Suicide Squad had followed the same style this film did, we may have seen a very different DCEU. Let's not forget our villain, and what a villain he was. Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. Wow! He nearly stole the show. Obviously, this is a female-led movie, and it should amplify the women throughout. But we can't get over that performance by Ewan. He was psychotic, he was creepy, he was funny, spontaneous, and more violent than we had expected. A surprisingly good villain, and his squeals were some of the best sound this movie had to offer. All of our characters seem very well casted with solid performances, except for one. Chris Messina, who played Victor Zsasz. Some may not recognize this Easter egg, but Zsasz has been a Batman villain for quite some time. A lot of you probably recognize him from the Arkham video game series. Zsasz has grown into several adaptations throughout the years, and this one is probably our least favorite. Zsasz is a character who, when played well, has so much to offer, and in this case that didn't happen. I mean, when did Zsasz have time to get blonde highlights? Let's talk about the score, soundtrack, and the visuals. First of all, does every song on the soundtrack have to be a cover of some big hit slowed down to sound all dramatic? It got pretty annoying and a little bit redundant. The score was nothing of impression either. Then our visuals really let us down. The cinematography and overall tone of the film seemed to suffer. Lots of low ground shots, but nothing really new or exciting done here. Also, we want to voice our complaints about the costumes. Black Canary didn't even really have a costume, and we only get a few seconds with Black Mask actually wearing his black mask. And not a single shot of him wearing his black mask and his white suit, which is his iconic look. I mean, what are we doing here? We get they want to avoid hokey comic book accurate costumes, but those aren't really that hokey. Black Canary and Black Mask costumes are pretty legit. Can we at least get some kind of cool retro outfits for these characters?
Moving on.
Overall, we definitely think Birds of Prey is worth a watch. With a 6 out of 10 rating, we think it may even be worth, that's right, 2 watches. It's a fun ride with plenty of action, comedy, violence, and actual character depth. Good job, DC. Hopefully DC takes more chances like this in the future. But for now, let's just enjoy the moment with a slightly higher than mediocre movie. Well, until next time, guys, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Yeah, I got it, Bob. It's a beautiful day in the cinema hood.